and welcome back to Dunker's podcast. Today's guest has lived many lives: child protection solicitor, art teacher, world traveller, and now master of mud and as a ceramics potter with her own Manchester studio. But that's just the surface. She swims in wild waters around the globe. She crafts with fire and earth, and she returns time and time again to the cold, clear tides of Abersoch. A loyal Dunker with a home that's seen more than its fair share of tea, towels and tales. Through this conversation won't follow a straight line, more like a meandering river through secret valleys, unexpected turns and magical pauses. So lean in. This one's going to be soulful, surprising and slightly spellbinding. It's Nicky Darnborough, and welcome to Dunker's podcast.
Hello, Mark.
How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So you were keen to tell me I've never done anything like this before, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So tell me all about the reason why you keep coming down to Abersoch.
We have a house here, and my kids holidayed here when they all through their childhood, really. So that's why we come. But I think in sort of more recently, I've started swimming in the sea.
You weren't an ocean swimmer before?
No, not at all. Okay. No. So I've always been a swimmer, and actually, I was telling my husband actually in preparation for this, and I was saying, when I was about 5 or 6, and my mum took me to the local swimming baths to learn to swim your first breaths. And I think after 3 days, the swimming instructor said, right, come on, you're doing your lengths, and put me in at the deep end, and then wouldn't let me get out. And I did 16 lengths.
Wow.
in the first time I did a length. And then he said, oh, come and join my swimming club. So I don't know. I think some people have a bit more natural buoyancy than others, but I think I was a natural swimmer. And then I was in a swimming club when I was younger, with my 2 sibs, and then I think I stopped. When you're a teenage girl, you kind of
boys, other stuff.
I think you just become adverse to it. I think perhaps not now, but I'm 62 now. So when I was 12, 13, it wasn't cool to be sporty.
No.
So I just stopped and then returned to it probably when I was at university, actually, and I started swimming when I was doing exams, and I just found it a stress reliever.
Brilliant. So that was presumably in pools, warmer water.
In a pool.
So how does cold water immersion?
So basically, and then I was a runner. So I used to run with a group of friends in Chiltern. I live near sort of Chiltern Meadows and Sale Water Park, so there's a nice outdoorsy place to run. So did that for about 20 years, and then my hips and my knees started niggling.
Feeling.
Yeah. So I just thought, actually, I think it was my sister-in-law said, don't run. So I just got back into swimming because I'm a little bit sort of ADHD. I kind of have to do exercise to settle.
Okay.
And
that's your sort of way of calming.
So I sort of, I like to do something active every day. I just find that's good for me,
right? So
and my well-being.
When you're in Abersoch, the activity starts at least with the dunk.
Yeah, so it does. But went back to swimming in sort of Chiltern, Manchester. Started going swimming a bit more often, and then it was actually in lockdown, like a lot of people discovered that there were women that swam in Sale Water Park every day. So went down there and joined the WhatsApp group, and there must be about 60 people on that WhatsApp group. There's probably only about a core of 20 that swim. Some people go every day, and it's quite big. It's about probably 2 miles long, so you can have a good swim if you want to. So that's where I started outdoor swimming. And then obviously when I came to Abersoch, I thought, amazing, we've got the sea. So went in the sea, and then just used to go in, and then Helen Astles,
Okay.
my friend
Yeah,
down
yeah,
the
yeah,
hill.
yeah, yeah. Helen and Dave.
She
Yeah.
joined the Dunkers, and then she said, "Oh, come with me." So that's how I got into with the Dunkers.
And you know, Helen's always been the one to say to me, "Mark, don't keep recruiting people. There's too many people." And there she is.
Yeah. So I think I sort of first had a swim with the Dunkers probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then
guess.
whenever I'm down, I come down. And
Right.
now I come down when Helen's not there as well.
Excellent, excellent. So,
Yeah.
because you've got a background in water, and water's very
Mm.
much part of your DNA, really now, have you sort of, big question in a way, have you ever had a transformative moment when you've been swimming, or whether either in the ocean or in the pool?
Um, not. I wouldn't say I've had a transfer. No, but what I have started doing, and I'm actually going on my 4th swimming holiday next week to Croatia, and see, I'll just turn that off. Yeah. So it's just my son. So yeah, I have a friend in Manchester in Chorlton, and she's a really strong woman, and she's had a bit of adversity in her childhood. Anyway, about 3 or 4 years ago, we went on a little trip. We were supposed to go interrailing, but in fact we missed all the trains and ended up getting buses. But we went to Eastern Europe, and she said to us, she goes on holiday on her own, and she said everyone should go on holiday on their own, especially as a woman,
Okay.
And I know young people do a lot now,
Yeah, they
but
do, don't they? Yeah.
when I was young, I didn't, and I didn't know anyone who did it, to be honest. My husband did, actually. My husband travelled a bit when he was younger on his own.
It was even then, though.
Before I met him.
Yeah, we're probably similar ages, your husband and I, and
Yeah.
I'm probably a bit older, but not a lot. But it was a lot easier for a guy to do it.
Yeah.
It was to find a female on her own, one interrailing or wandering around
Yeah.
in the hills of wherever was more unusual.
It
Lot
was,
more
and I
unusual.
suppose we weren't sort of digitally connected, so we didn't have that safety factor.
No, that's true.
But anyway, so I thought, oh right, I'll go on holiday on my own, and my other friend that was with us, she booked this trek in the Atlas Mountains, and I thought, oh well, what do I like doing? And then I read about these swimming holidays, so I booked on one of those. And in the end, my friend came because she'd had some quite she had a lot of sadness in her life at that particular time. Her mum died, and one of her close colleagues died, so she wanted to come. So I said, oh okay, you can come with me, even though it was supposed to be my solo trip. So we had an amazing time. So we went to Croatia,
And this was just swimming.
Yes. So basically, you go to a particular place and you stay. They do liverboard ones, but this was where you stayed in a hotel, and every day you get on a boat. It's just a small boat, holds about 10 to 15 people, and you go off to somewhere which is like along the coast where it's quite sheltered, and you swim between 3 and 5K.
Oh, wow. That's a
Actually, a day.
decent
So you
swim.
do 2 swims. You do one in the morning for about an hour and one in the afternoon. They split you into groups according to your speed. Everyone's a reasonably good swimmer. But when I went, I couldn't even swim crawl.
Right.
So I went as a breaststroker.
I was going to say you blagged it through, did you? In a way.
And no, because everybody, there was a group from Bournemouth actually who were really good, and they used to swim across. They swam 2 miles a day in the sea.
Right.
There were about 6 of them, and then there was myself and my friend Jane, and we were breaststrokers. But over the course of the week, these Bournemouth women who were amazing swimmers, like one of them was something like number 10 veteran triathlete or something.
Right.
They were really
serious
swimmers,
yeah.
And they taught me crawl.
Okay.
And there's kind of 2 guides, and they give you a few tips. So by the end of the week, I swam crawl round the island, which was 3.5 km. So
amazing
just
accomplishment.
having the right technique.
Yeah.
And then
and the support of people that can do it.
Yeah. And then so I loved it so much that then the following year I booked on another one with my friend Jane, and we went to Greece, I think, and we had an amazing time. And then I just thought, I'm going to go on another one on my own. So I went to Turkey and did one. Yeah.
And you're off again this year?
And then I'm going again, but I met these 2 Irish women in Turkey, so I'm going with them to Croatia.
Okay.
However, what it did do for me, obviously I loved it, because you sort of it's just about the process. You're just swimming through the sea along you do swim from island to island sometimes, that kind of thing, but mostly the swims are along the coast. And
and it's warm water.
It's warm. It's about usually 24, 25, 26 degrees.
So you can stay in that.
Yes,
that is one of the restrictions.
Here you don't get cold, and you're not swimming in a wetsuit. You've just got a costume on.
Right.
So it's just gorgeous. It's just beautiful.
I know breath work is quite an important part of any swimming, especially the crawl. Have you found, especially going on these special holidays, that it's also a bit meditative? That you almost
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
you kind of unconsciously meditate when you're swimming.
Yeah.
Because everybody talks, and you go out for a meal in the evening, and when you get on the boat after the swim, everyone's nattering away. But when you're swimming, you're on your own, really. And though you do swim as a pod.
Yes, I guess you would.
Swim
is
as
that
a pod,
the obvious safety thing?
No, it's just nice swimming. You feel like a fish, because you kind of swimming, and everyone's speed is the same, and you just kind of, nobody's splashing, because you're just gliding through the water at a kind of nice ambient pace. and you, as you turn to breathe, you see the swimmer next to you. And it's just like you feel like a synchronized swimmer sometimes. Brilliant. It's just just a lovely it's just a lovely feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it must be. It must be. And do you find that, because obviously your background is swimming pools, so you're well into that. Do you find a major difference in your swimming technique and your approach when you're swimming in nature? Whether the ocean or a lake
I do wild swim as well, and if I'm now, I can't go on a walk without there being somewhere to go and have a
you always
swim.
Walk with the cozy, do you?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't. I mean, if I'm just swimming in a somewhere on a walk, I probably just swim breaststroke with my head out. Whereas if I on a swimming holiday, I now swim front crawl.
Right.
But don't kick my legs. Okay. Don't kick your legs. I was trying to teach
you
this morning.
You were. I wasn't going to listen to it.
Keep where your hand hits the water. It's parallel with your shoulder, and you glide through. So you're not making a splash. You bring your hand down. Your thumb skims your hip. Elbow out first, and over again, and then you breathe every 3. And your legs are they're like a fish's tail. They just point your toes, gliding behind you, occasionally flipping like a fish. So that's what. And then on another swimming holiday, I was with a group there were 2 Australian groups, actually.
I was going to say, does one group taught you one thing, and one's taught you another?
There was a group from Margaret River.
Margaret River.
On the west coast of Australia, northwest. And there was another group from, I think they were 50 miles away. I can't remember where they were from. And it was just coincidence.
Esperance?
Somewhere with a big jetty. There was a big jetty, Brocken Hole or something.
Right. Okay.
And they all swam in the sea every day, and quite 2K, 2 miles, whatever. So they kind of gave you some tips as well.
And they've got that. And the thing about Australian swimmers is they've got livestock in a way that we haven't got livestock, have we? I mean, our jellies are bad for some people.
Though actually,
do jellies bother you when you're swimming?
Do you know what? I don't no, because I sort of I've not really done long swims in Wales.
Okay.
I'd like to do the one from the thing.
The
So
island. Yeah.
yeah, the island, but in a wetsuit. But
Okay. Well,
yeah, in a swim wetsuit.
that is what
Yeah, I get too cold
Andy
otherwise.
has insisted. He's going to organise another one, but he
Yeah.
does insist, because part of his safety is he does insist that you have to do it in a wetsuit.
Yeah. So yeah, but actually in Turkey there was a huge turtle was swimming under us, which was amazing.
Oh yeah. Because you've got your goggles, so you'll be able to see it clearly.
It was and then obviously there's loads of nice fish and things, but no, I think this actually yesterday when I was swimming out along the buoys, I did feel something.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, is that a big jellyfish?
Yeah. It did not enough to put you off your stroke.
No, but they don't.
Say.
It's the tentacles, isn't it?
Yeah.
It wouldn't put me off.
No. So the whole sort of connection with nature and with swimming and having a relaxed and almost a sort of in a level of meditation, you're obviously one-to-one with the water. So that's a part of your life which we know, because that's the only part that we've met. But when I was doing a bit of digging around, you also got a massive part which is sort of creative as well, aren't you? You're very creative.
Yeah.
And tell me a bit about that.
Well, I suppose I was, and then I went to uni actually and started to do fine art. I did an art foundation, did a year of fine art at Leeds Uni. And then in those days, it was just taught really badly, and then didn't use sketchbooks. There was no process. It was just seemed very random, and I couldn't cope with its randomness.
Okay.
So I switched to a sort of a written academic degree.
Okay.
Did that, but then
in an academic degree in fine art.
No, I did. I actually did art history sociology.
Oh right,
which was a bit like, I would say it's probably now was a bit like, I had Griselda Pollock as she was like the main sort of senior lecturer, but she was professor of art history at Leeds for a long time. Actually, after I left, she was a senior lecturer then, but she's an amazing.
I was going to say, it sounds as though you were lucky with.
She's amazing. She was on front row. Actually, she won the Nobel Prize for social science.
Okay, so it's a
social
big hitter.
Science and humanities, because she's made such a difference to how we view things in terms of. I suppose she's a big feminist, but so she's done a lot of work about colonialism and feminism. So that was great. I loved my degree. And then when I finished, I wanted to go into advertising actually, but nobody would have me. So I trained as an art teacher, taught in London for a few years, and then the kids were just so naughty, and I used to get ocular migraine all the time. And I thought, how can anyone do this as a job? It was so hard.
You're not your kids then.
The kids, and they gave me all the year 9 classes, and it was just And so I retrained as I was thinking, should I do social work or should I train? Anyway, I retrained as a lawyer. Okay. Because you see, in those days, it was all free.
Yes.
You could do a postgrad for free.
Yeah.
So I retrained as a lawyer and did a postgrad. And then I worked as a child protection solicitor for about 22 years.
Oh, okay.
20 years.
Okay. So
worked for Manchester City Council.
You really made the most of that qualification. When you finally found one,
I did and I didn't. I mean, I have got 4 kids, so I'd only ever really worked part time.
Okay. And the art teaching side, did that ever? While you were as a CPS, were you an art teacher also at the same time at weekends?
No. God, no.
No. All right.
No,
okay.
No. But I always did. I started doing ceramics when I was I think I did a course in Islington when I was on my art teach training course, a night school, adult ed when they had that, and did a pottery class and just loved it. And after that, I just did a night school pottery class all the time. Sometimes I think there was one point where I was doing 3 a week. In fact, when I had my first child and I'd had loads of pethidine, the midwife said I was saying, I need to get back to I've got to go and glaze my pots. And they said, "You're not going anywhere, love. You've just had a baby."
I won't ask what you said after the other three. Yeah, because
And then I had 3 more.
yeah.
But yeah, so I've always did that. And then when I just got to a point where I just had this overwhelming, it was so stressful being a child protection solicitor. I mean,
Really?
overwhelmingly stressful. You're just firefighting.
I was going to say, because
You
on a serious note, because of the amount of people you're representing, or just because of the hopelessness of the system?
Well, it's I suppose it's because it's so under-resourced. So you're representing social workers in care proceedings. So it's very, not always crisis-led, but a lot of it's, something will happen and like they'll have to take emergency action and that kind of thing. So you're often in court and in contested hearings. And so, yeah. And it was, anyway, I just felt like my life was, every month I was there, my life was probably being shortened by about 5 years.
Wow.
And I used to say to my younger colleagues, I can't do this anymore. No. I think maybe I was like perimenopausal and,
Okay.
and I think at that point it wasn't recognised. So,
right.
And
so nobody was going to define that there's you're having a condition.
And it was just like, they kept changing all the systems, and it was just like, and I just said, I don't want to exchange my time for money in this way anymore.
No.
I value my time more. And fortunately, we were in a position where I didn't, it wasn't crucial that
because your husband's a lawyer, isn't he?
My husband's a lawyer. I mean, we're not like massive earners or anything, but we had enough for our needs.
Absolutely.
And I think we'd still got we had a late child, so she was still at school, and and now I'm paying her university accommodation.
It's okay. Let me give you the heads up. As soon as they leave school, you start to pay for something else. It just continues.
So I just, anyway, I left, and kind of somebody else who was also a lawyer, but coincidentally, who was in my community studio, Clay Studio in Manchester, which is amazing.
Right.
And we said, should we have a little coffee shop or something with ceramics and, do pottery, and then we decided we didn't really want to make cakes or coffee. So, and then someone had asked me to sell my stuff in the craft centre in their studio. So I was in there anyway, and then a studio came free, so we applied for that, and we've had it now for 6 years.
Okay.
So we're Crag Jones Clay.
Crag Jones Clay.
Because I'm Nicky Jones. I'm a third Welsh.
Okay. Well, that's going to go down well. No wonder.
So I'm a Jones, but she's Crag, Sue Crag. So our
Crag Jones
shop is our studio shop. So there's a shop and a little studio.
Right.
So it's great because actually we've done it for years and years and years, but there's an awful lot of boomers now that are jumping on the pottery bandwagon and which is great because everyone should be creative, and it's a really lovely thing to do.
And the TV's doing it great, and there's the potter that's taking over the place in Pwllheli. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, they're all making stuff, and then you end up with all this stuff, and what do you do with it? Whereas we have a shop, so we sell it.
Yeah.
So it's great.
And can you get a coffee there at the same time?
Oh yeah. There's Freddie's Cafe is great in the downstairs.
So it's like a little sort of
there's 50
emporium.
makers. There's 50 makers
wow.
in there.
Okay.
I think there's about 23 studios, and most studios have more than one maker because you couldn't earn a living from what you made and sell. Most people have a part-time job.
Yeah.
We don't, because we kind of, we've kind of
worked
worked. But a lot of the younger ones, they have other jobs as well.
Do they? Yeah. Do you think if you'd have had, or did you use swimming as a stress buster? Or did you?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you?
Definitely.
So, because it would sound pretty intense.
So when I was, I think I was when I was doing child protection, I used to run about 3 or 4 times a week as a stress buster.
Right.
But And then when I was I did swim as well, but not that often, just because of time, 4 kids, running, working,
Yeah.
couldn't fit that in. But when I sort of eased out of running, I then started swimming more. And actually, it's fantastic in Manchester because you swim for free if you're 60. So you
Yes.
can book on,
Yeah.
you can go as many times as you want in the week and it's all free. So you go in the morning and there's all these kind of people swimming. And we go about 8:30, usually between 8 and 9, but all the people who had to go to that thing work,
Oh, yes.
they
Yeah,
go
yeah.
earlier because they have
That's
to go
right.
off to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There are advantages to being 60 and above,
Yeah, there are.
aren't there?
So I do, and it kind of resets me for the day.
Right.
But I just think cold water swimming is something else. It's like it's massively resets you.
It does,
And
doesn't it?
actually, last year, my mum she got vascular dementia over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, and she died last July, about a year ago. And when she was diagnosed, I was swimming in Sale with this group of women, and I'd go down, and I was so stressed because I was like, I think my daughter was doing her A levels, and I was, like got my little business, but mostly because I was sorting my mum out, and
Yeah.
and having to, like, myself and my brother were going, like, one of us had to be there every day, and what got me through that was going to Sale. We call it Sale Pond. It's like a lake.
Right.
Going to Sale, and we go to Prawn Bay because someone found a takeaway prawn floating in there's a really nice bit that's sort of really, where we all go, and there's a deck you get changed on and go in. And they were just the women there were just, because you'd go for a swim, then we'd all have a natter with a cup of tea, and it was just a bit like the Dunkers.
Yeah, it reset you every day.
Every day, and that every day they'd be going, oh, how's your mum? And it was interesting because when she'd do these really funny things that when you sort of she stopped when she first got dementia, and I'd go, oh God, you never guess what she's doing now. And I remember Marion saying to me, well, you're laughing now, but I guarantee in 6 months' time you won't be. And she was right. And then, because it actually got worse and worse. And
But for
but
you,
I don't know how I would have got through that without going swimming every day.
No.
And, and them just that group being so supportive.
It's that sharing, isn't it?
And actually one of the other swimmers is going through something bad with a close relative. And, everyone's really, if she says, oh, anyone swimming, we'll all go, yeah, I'll come.
Right. And I think it's that, because I'm just sort of picking up really from the last few minutes that we've been talking, that your community, it keeps coming back, although you sort of go out on holidays, and indeed, and the next holiday on your own is going to be
I'm
there.
meeting the 2 Irish women, but I would go on my own now. I have no qualms about going on my own.
The whole fact of things that you've done have all sort of gravitated around friends, be it one or two, or community, be it like the Sale ladies.
Yes,
and
I
the
love
Dunkers.
my friends, and would normally never have done anything on my own. I would have gone as a group of friends, or with my husband, or
do you think
whatever.
You would have, just a real personal question here, do you think you would have shared your experience and where you were up in life if you hadn't sort of had that feeling? Because the thing about swimming or dunking is the fact that you've all stripped off together. There's an absolute levelness. There's no ups, there's no downs, there's no rich person, there's no poor person, there's no talker, there's no non-talker. Well, there's few, but it's so level. And I'm just thinking that you've been through some fairly stressful and challenging times, and obviously you're finding that people are just dragging you along. The question is, would you have shared if you hadn't been in those sorts of groups?
Shared
what you were going through. Do you think you would have kept it to yourself?
No, I don't think I'm that sort of. I think I'm a heart on my sleeve sort of person, to be
Okay,
honest.
okay.
So I think sometimes I possibly overshare.
Oh, all
But
right, okay.
because I got my
Yeah,
other friends that didn't swim,
right,
but I found the intensity of that going for a swim and just waking up and feeling really anxious. People going, oh, be there at 8 or be there at 7:30 or whatever. And I go, great. And I'd go down, go in the cold water, and all that stress would go.
yeah, yeah,
It would be like, and everything would be calm and at one with the world. Obviously, it isn't because there's some terrible things happening,
yeah.
but you would feel, you would feel some kind of, yeah.
And
It's
you
like
could,
everyone said it's like a reset.
it is absolutely,
Yeah.
and for us down here,
Yeah.
we extend that reset in a way because we add the walk on to the
Yeah.
end as well, don't we?
Yeah.
And I think
Which is good.
that in itself is quite revealing
Yeah.
because you don't know. I mean, one of the backbones of this podcast is to sort of, people don't know about us all, and because
Yes.
we've all got backstories, and clearly
Yes.
yours is coming through this morning. But the fact is that the walk does facilitate that.
Well, you can chat because if you're swimming and not, because some people just chat while they swim, don't they? And then some people put the head under so they can't.
Yeah. I won't
Yeah,
say
so it's
anything
good.
about Eve and Claire this morning. I'll just carry on, Nicky.
But yeah, I think that's great. And like they're in sail, the fact that everyone takes a flask and has it. They swim all like the Dunkers. They swim all through the winter.
Right. And okay, so
And then they have a cup of tea whilst their teeth are chattering.
Yeah, and then it makes it all feel worthwhile.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say something. I know that you were quite interested initially when you spoke to me and said, "Oh, I'm quite interested about you going on your own on holiday."
Yeah,
So
I am.
and I just, if anyone's sort of thinking of doing that, because when I did it, when I booked it, I must have phoned the guy who runs this swimming organization about 3 times. He's called Baru. And I was saying, well, who else is going then? So who will be there? And will I be all, and what are the ages of people who are going? And are they all couples? And he was going, oh, Nicky, you will be fine. Yes, there's lots of people on their own and you will be fine. In fact, I think when the first one I went to with my friend Jane, there was this group. And obviously, if you're on your own, people include you.
Yes.
But I was like, oh, everyone will be in couples and I'll feel like I'm gooseberrying and no one will want to go out and eat dinner with me in the evening. But it was just so easy and it was fine. And,
And so,
people
you really
include
you're
you.
an advocate of it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Of this sort of.
I don't think I'm not a shy person, but
No.
even so, I was a little bit anxious about who would be on it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but actually I don't think it really matters.
No.
Is what I would say now.
Yeah.
Even if they were all couples, I don't think it would matter. Even if they were all in their 20s, I don't think it would matter.
No, it doesn't seem as though it is.
No.
Yeah. Because
you've got a shared love of swimming and everyone's chill because they've all had a great day.
They wouldn't be on that sort of holiday if it did matter, would they?
No.
That's the point. It's it sort of breaks. Okay, so I'm going to go completely 180 degrees on this. So because obviously you're sort of saying that you just go, and if there's holidays and you feel like going on your own, and just do it. So if I said to you, if there was one place in the world you could dunk and with one person, who would it be?
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
Do you know, I loved the lake I'll have to say with my husband or he'll be really upset.
Well, he might not be.
I loved the that lake near the Rhinogs in North Wales.
No, I don't know that. I don't know that.
It's in that book.
Okay.
The one. It's kind of. I just thought it was gorgeous.
Wild Swimming Walks.
Yeah,
book.
It was high. Okay. You were high. You'd had a 3-hour trek to get there.
Right.
and it was this beautiful, cold, big lake at the top.
The one we were talking about before
Yeah,
we came on air.
that was
Yeah. Oh,
gorgeous.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my
That was
husband,
the one with all the
or
kids
I'd
over
have
there.
to say my swimming buddy Jane,
Okay.
because we've been on this journey together.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
You know, we started sort of cold water swimming together. She goes to the lakes a lot and swims in the lakes, and I go with her
okay.
there
Okay.
sometimes.
So you encourage each other.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. That's
very much so.
That's excellent. Yeah. Okay. So difficult question, but it might not be. If I was to sort of say, what defines you as you? What's the furniture of your life? What would you say is you? Or is it just, you tell me? What?
Oh God, that's really hard.
I know.
I wish you'd pre-warn me on
No,
this.
I can't pre-warn you.
What defines me? I like to be creative. I like to be active, I suppose. It's really hard.
Okay.
I think I like to feel like I think I like to feel that living a kind of a life where I feel a sense of well-being and holistic well-being, and but also that, yeah, I suppose you go through different phases in your life, don't you? And at the moment, because my youngest child she sort of left home 2 years ago to go to uni, 2 years in September, and then my mum became ill. So I suppose I was for a time that kind of sandwich generation where you're caring at both ends. So I'm at what defines me. I don't know. At the moment I'm feeling a little. I feel awful about this, but I'm feeling a little bit selfish because I'm feeling as though I want to live my life at the moment, and that's why I'm doing, just going on these swimming holidays, and but I suppose, I think, my family's important. I like to feel that I'm altruistic. What defines me? I don't really know.
Don't dig any deeper.
I don't know. I
the
don't know
thing
what
is,
defines me.
yeah,
My husband would say you're just an empty-headed fool. He would
well,
say you're just a busy fool.
Clearly, he hasn't he hasn't heard this podcast.
But I don't know. I kind of do things that I find I like to do things that, and it's a funny word, thrilling, but my friend Sarah uses the word thrilling a lot, and it's an old-fashioned word, but sometimes I do things and I think, gosh, this is really thrilling. I want to be thrilled.
Absolutely, don't we all?
Yeah.
Don't we all? But the thing is, if you're going to be a couch potato, you're not going to be thrilled, are you?
No,
you've got to go for
be. I suppose I have to be active every day.
So, Nicky, just before I let you go, I'm going to you mentioned your husband a moment or two ago. So what does he actually think about you going on these holidays on your own?
Well, quite interesting. When we both got to a point where we were semi-retired and my daughter had gone, and obviously my mum had died last year, we reached a point where we were talking about what we were going to do with the rest of our lives, and we were in our third part of our life, third age, and he was really strongly felt that he didn't want to travel. When he was a student and in his early 20s, he did a lot of traveling, India and Southeast Asia, and he lived in Japan, I think, for 2 or 3 years. He went to America before he was a student, South America.
So quite the accomplished traveller.
Yeah. And so he felt that he'd kind of used his air miles, and he said, in the interest of the climate, he didn't want to take any flights. Whereas when I was young, I didn't do that. And actually, I was a member. Was a paying member of Just Stop Oil, so I felt quite hypocritical, really. But I just felt that I did, obviously I would travel sustainably if I could. I've just been interrailing. But he said, I just want to be in Wales and explore North Wales. He said, I don't feel I want to do anything else. So that kind of was interesting because it also tied in with my friend saying everybody should go on holiday on their own. It's empowering. It makes you feel if you want to do something, you can do it. You don't have to be reliant on other people. So he's kind of completely cool with me going away, but he does say, where are you going now? Oh, wait, where are you going now?
So would you say, is the word I'm going to use probably a bit strong, would you say that almost gave you permission from him just to continue your life on your own, doing something that frankly he was cool with because he just didn't really want to join in?
Yeah. So yeah, and yeah, absolutely. He's fine. I mean, he does other things. He likes music and things, but yeah. So it's that is completely fine, and it sort of freed me up. Yeah.
You're both on the journey, but you're just going
Yeah.
at slightly sort of different lines, but it's still going in the same direction.
And I think I've talked to other women and who have got male partners, and they've quite a few have said that that's really interesting because my husband's like that. He doesn't want to go anywhere either. He's happy just staying in the UK, and that's not particularly for supposed climate change reasons.
Right, no, it's just...
they just haven't got that desire to do it. In fact, Kathy this morning that was dunking with me, I was talking to her about it, and she said she's got a good friend who's German and he doesn't want to leave Germany.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
so
yeah. So it isn't just an Englishman's problem.
So no, I think, and it's interesting on these swimming holidays, I would say 2/3 of the people are women.
Yes.
In later life.
So. Really?
So,
yeah,
like me.
Okay.
And you do get 1 or 2 men, to say maybe 3 or 4 men in the group.
Yeah.
But there's usually about 10 who are women.
Okay. So
it's quite interesting.
Yeah. So whether you are a widow or a widower, it really there's a tomorrow by joining these sorts of groups if you're a swimmer.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I've got this tradition, and we ask you a question that our previous guest has left, and I won't tell you who it is, but for you it's very appropriate, I'm sure. Have you ever skinny dipped whilst you've been dunking?
Yes.
There we go, Nicky. That's a very definite. Thank you very much indeed for your time and your energy that you shared with us today. And just thank you, and may the spirit of the Dunkers go with you.
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure.